here I want to paint you a picture, if I may, of what it is that confidence essentially looks like. All right. Now, I mean, come on, if we look throughout society today, there's a pretty good chance you might identify a lot of people who put on the confidence facade. I mean, look on social medias, for example, young guys, young girls, pouting their lips, bulging their biceps, they're plastering themselves all over social media with fake smiles and all that kind of stuff. And it's a really, really toxic environment, isn't it? Especially social media platforms today create such a culture of competition, especially amongst our, emerging generations. Young people today are looking at what they perceive as being beauty or attraction or strength or whatever, and then compare themselves up against these people who they perceive as being kind of flawless in perfection. And the problem with these pictures of flawlessness and perfection is that most of them are airbrushed, so we cannot compare ourselves up against airbrushedness. But what could we compare ourselves up against? Well, what I'd like to propose is that anyone who's even remotely interested in growing and maturing and developing as a human being, which we've got to do if we want to experience a more authentic state of confidence within ourselves as individuals, right? We need a picture for how it is that we can grow and who it is that we could ultimately become. So confident people, they're sociable and they enjoy social interaction. I'm sociable. I love social interaction. All right. Now, don't get me wrong. Going back, 15, maybe 20 years ago, you put me in a large room or a bar or a working environment, I would back then have been the person who'd make the most noise. But it wasn't coming from a place of genuine confidence. It was coming from that place of facade. All right. So I was generally that kind of person that everyone would love to have at their party, but I wasn't coming from a place of strength. I was coming from a place of insecurity. All right. So back then, did I enjoy social interaction? No, it was something that I felt I had to do. All right, just to feel included by other people. So being sociable and enjoying social interaction is something we don't have a problem with when we're just confident. Resilience and our capacity to manage delay or rejection. Right. Think about the last time you were rejected by someone. What happened next? Did you spiral into a place of sadness or depression or dismay or anxiety or stress or anger or whatever, right? Did rejection or delay trigger an emotion in you? If yes, we're going to come on to that shortly. If no, congratulations, my friend, you are a confident individual. All right, listen, when we're secure within ourselves, we understand that there is no other person in this world who can add anything to us or take anything away from who we are. Right? Now, the one commonality that you and I share is that we are equally imperfect. Right? I am an imperfect human being. I'm an imperfect communicator, just in case you're thinking about reviewing this course and saying, this guy's not a perfect communicator, and neither are you. Something we all have in common, every single person around the world. But if you think about the main issue that we kind of trigger for ourselves sometimes, we compare ourselves up against people who we perceive as being better than us, don't we? Because they communicate in a way that we perceive as being greater. Or perhaps we might compare ourselves against people who we think are more attractive than us, or who have bigger guns than us, or bigger biceps than us, or who are slimmer than us, or who are smarter than us, which is all perception, by the way, and we're going to come on to this shortly as well. When we're secure in who we are, we understand that no one can add anything to us or take anything away from who we are. So when we experience delay, or when we experience rejection, or when we don't get what we want, rather than personifying the experience, I'm not good enough, I'm worthless because I didn't get what I wanted because this person said no to me, instead, we don't get everything we want in life. Such is life. And such is life. All right, there's one beautiful notion that I accepted and made peace with around about a decade ago. I think I woke up on the morning of my 30th birthday, all right, and I was in this place of emotional distraughtness. All right, on my 30th birthday, I woke up, I was broke, I was homeless, I was living in someone's flat on the other side of the world. Didn't really have a respectful job or something that I saw as significant. I felt like I'd absolutely trashed and ruined my life. So back then I felt sad, my confidence was crushed, and it was only because I had previously thought that, by the age of 30, I should have my whole life in order. I didn't. I experienced delay and rejection. I didn't get what I wanted within the time frame in which I wanted it. Now, did I do something to positively influence this time frame? Absolutely not. Right? I was my own worst enemy back then. But what I'm kind of saying is that rejection and delay is just part of life. This beautiful truth is the fact that you and I are entitled to nothing. You're not entitled to anyone ever saying yes to you. You're not entitled to ever being liked. You're not entitled to ever being loved. You're not entitled to ever being accepted. You're not entitled to ever being rich, to ever having a nice home. You're not entitled to ever being picked for that squad or for that team. All right? And because you're not entitled to any of these things, it means that there shouldn't be any reason for disappointment when you don't get these things that you expect or want or hope for. Instead, when we don't get the things that we expect or hope for, it can trigger a more helpful line of questioning inside of our minds. Okay, I didn't get picked. I didn't get what I wanted there. Why not? How may I have influenced this outcome? In what way could I improve to better my chances the next time round? Because this is not a mindset that's cultural, especially throughout much of our Western world today. All right, so it's something that we want to be developing if we want to experience this confident, assertive life. All right. So what else does confidence look like? Where we're responsible for our own life situations. And we actually follow through on our commitments. If we understand this idea that we alone are responsible for our lives, then we're never going to be looking to a book or a training course like this, or a guru, or a coach, or a healer, or anything to fix our lives. All right? If you think about it, right, who's responsible for my life? Who's responsible for my emotions? Who's responsible for what goes on inside of my mind? Who's responsible for me taking care of my family? Who's responsible for me being a sensible, wise husband? Who's responsible for me doing my best to communicate as articulately as possible? Is it you? Is it a doctor? Is it a professional? Is it a witch or a wizard? Or is it me? That's right, of course, it's me. And in the same way, there is no aspect of your life that you aren't solely responsible for. No one else is responsible for you other than you. And what you'll find is that until people take full responsibility for owning and managing and regulating and evolving and increasing every single area of their life, this becomes the primary source of all insecurity and all low confidence. All right, I'm offering you some nuggets here. Why? I've not read this stuff out of a book. I've lived it, right? Experienced it all firsthand and came out the back end. All right. It's only when we come out the back end with the results. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I generated that result because I owned that situation. I took responsibility for growing and developing myself and increasing and improving there. Therefore, oh wow, I got the result I was hoping for through my own effort. And what happens? We naturally grow in confidence. It's not a feeling, it's a state that we enter into as we take more responsibility for our lives. All right? Personal responsibility precedes all personal empowerment. Personal empowerment is what gives birth to confidence and assertiveness. All right? I'm honestly doing my best to simplify this and break it down and communicate it as clearly as possible. But I can't make you take this stuff on board. That's up to you. All right? So our degree of optimism and our attitude towards adversity will determine how much we grow or how much we don't grow. If every time we have a tough experience or we don't get what we want and we start crying or feeling all sad for ourselves or we engage in that pity party, the only person who we're undermining is ourselves, right? We are in the eyes of other people who are conducting themselves in a relatively mature way are going to look at us and say, wow, that person's really irresponsible. That person's really immature. Yes, I might appease them when in their company, but I'm certainly not going to take them seriously. All right? No one enjoys being around pessimistic or negative people. All right? Think about it. Do you? Do you enjoy being around negative people? Of course you don't. All right? How much do you think other people might enjoy being around you and your attitude sometimes? Come on, this is where we have this opportunity to check ourselves before we wreck ourselves. All right? Every now and again in life, we've got to do this checkup from the neck up. All right? Otherwise, we end up standing at risk of completely undermining the rest of our lives. The journey doesn't end here. All right? This can be the turning point. All right? You're only one shift in mindset away from completely transforming your experience of life. I'm being straight with you. All right? Confidence and presence. Here it is. I'm doing my best to lead by example. All right? Am I communicating perfectly? No, I'm not. Am I the most handsome man in the planet? No, I most certainly am not. I used to have a 6-pack. Today I've got a 12-pack. Am I ashamed? Oh, well, I'm not particularly proud of it. But am I beating myself up? No. Because I understand that it doesn't matter whether you or anyone else in the world likes me, accepts me, loves me, loathes me. It doesn't make any difference. All right? My responsibility is to turn up and just be who I am. It's the greatest risk we can take in life, by the way. It's the greatest risk you could ever take. Just turning up and being who you are. But it's only when we commit to this process that we naturally become more effective at being who we are and we grow in authentic confidence through the process. This is what presence is. It's not false presence. We're not talking joining the superficiality club here. We're talking about you turning up and just being who you are. For this is what confidence looks like. You don't need to be authoritative. Some people confuse being assertive with being authoritative. So they get all bossy and they try to control and manipulate people by bossing people around. That's just a mark of cowardice. Fear, right? Scared people boss people around. It's an expression of control and manipulation. Assertive people influence by asking questions, by sharing of themselves, by saying, listen, it's okay not to have all the answers. It's okay not to be perfect. Listen, I'm the king of the imperfection gang. You can be queen or whatever, right? You catching what I'm cooking? So this is kind of what confidence looks like. I'm doing my very, very best here, as I've mentioned, to lead by example. I'm not just here to present some PowerPoints and some pretty slides to you, all right? I want to help, I want to influence your thinking, all right? So you can take practical steps today in driving your life forward. So here's the natural order of things, right? This is how it goes. I want to help you to manage your expectations because you need to if you want to live a grounded life. Self-awareness comes first. You've got to be aware of yourself. You've got to be aware of your emotions. You've got to be aware of the thoughts that sometimes unconsciously pass through your mind. All right, they all come from somewhere. It's only as we begin to slow our minds down and actually become aware of what's occupying our headspace that we can then start to emotionally regulate. But if you think about it, whether you believe that you can or whether you believe that you can't, you've already made up your mind. A lot of people, the majority of people go through life completely convinced by their beliefs. Well, I believe this and I believe that and I believe this about myself and I believe that about the world, as if beliefs are universal truths. Beliefs are just ideas, all right? And you know that we're all capable of having really silly ideas sometimes? Honestly, I have like 100 a day. Don't know about you. I certainly wouldn't be willing to, assume that every belief or every idea that pops into my mind is true, because it most certainly isn't. We need to distinguish and learn to discern the difference between the ideas that pop into our mind and that which is true. And when it comes to defining ourselves, we've got to start building our lives upon a foundation of facts, right? We cannot afford to define ourselves, especially on an identity level, in a way that boxes us in or contains us, right? How do many people define themselves today? Think about it, right? If I was to say to you right now, so who are you? Right? If we were to take away job titles and if we were to take away all of the labels that society's placed on you and all the labels that you place upon yourself, take away how you feel, take away what you think, take away the religion that you subscribe to or the lack of religion that you don't subscribe to, take away your gender, take away your sexual orientation, take away your role, take away everything. What's left? Who are you? How would you respond? Some people are literally going to be starting to look up to space right now and say, Oh, I don't know. I'm so empty. It's all right. Well, I'm going to help you to answer all these questions. All right, I have to. Because it's only when we begin to define ourselves in a substantial way, in a wholesome way, in a sensible way, in an accurate way, that we can begin to discipline ourselves in a mature way. All right? If we never reach this stage in life, exercising self-discipline, do you know how many people are actually going to take you serious? Well, I don't know, because I don't know how many friends you've got, but what I understand is until I started taking myself serious, I was a fool to think that anyone else would. All right, so I'm sure the same is going to be true for you. Maturation is about our maturity, it's about our character in life. All right, if I was to ask you to tick a few boxes here, are you responsible for yourself? Do you take full responsibility for yourself, for the words that come out of your mouth, for your habits, for your attitudes, for your behaviours? How often are you pointing fingers, blaming other people for why and how it is that you are you? Because as long as there's fingers pointing out in that direction, then there's not any fingers pointing in this direction. And this is what personal responsibility looks like, when I'm pointing in this direction first and that direction last. All right, makes sense? Comprendez-vous? Comme ci, comme ça? As we do this, we naturally mature. But as we do this, we identify the voids that we have in our life. Right, now some people will say, oh, I'm not smart enough, I'm not skilled enough. Can you learn? Can you upskill? Can you grow? Are you taking a course right now? Could you take more courses right now? Could you read more books? Could you go and attend some course and upskill somewhere? Could you learn something from someone? And the answer is, of course you can. Many people beat themselves up in life because they perceive themselves as not yet having enough, rather than just viewing themselves as being at a certain stage of this evolutionary journey. Am I there yet? I don't even know where there is. All right? Have you ever caught yourself at some point in life saying, when I get there, I'll be confident. When I get there, life will be better. When I get there, my life will just be tickety-boo. Right? Where is there? I don't know where there is. There's a pretty good chance that you don't either. But what I'm going to propose is that I reckon maturation could be there. All right? Responsibility. What would it look like for you to be fully responsible for your life? How about being a decisive individual? Right? Being decisive. Are you decisive? Are you consistent in your ways? Are you strong? Do you offer substance and stability for other people? Are you the kind of person that other people would come and confidently confide in? Or are you the kind of person when people are looking for a little bit of hope or inspiration, people will just run in the opposite direction away from? Listen, it doesn't matter what the response is, right? The truth of the matter is that we're all capable of growth. We're all capable of developing. We're all capable of increasing, right? If we're not capable of this, there's no hope for any of us, me included, right? I'm completely deluded if that's the case. So maturation's where it's at, because it's only as we start growing in maturity, growing in virtue, wow, I'm actually becoming a bit more sincere. I'm becoming a little bit stronger. Wow, I'm actually, being a bit more integral here. Wow, I'm like getting pretty good at making decisions here. Wow, I'm kind of, compassionate for people. I'm really good at telling the truth and being honest and being sincere with people because I'm not scared anymore, right? We begin to identify our own self-worth. Now, the problem with many of these mental health organisations around the world today is, especially with the younger generations, right, they'll struggle with confidence, right, because they never had a particularly mature role model to guide them in life. So they go to the doctors or they go to see the school nurse and they say, I have self-esteem issues. And then the school nurse will say, yeah, let's do some exercises, let's do some techniques, let's work on this self-esteem. You can't work on your self-esteem. You can't. All you can work on is your self-worth. Self-worth first, self-esteem second. It's a natural order of things. I give you my word. It's only as we commit to this process of growing and developing and increasing our value or our appreciation for just how valuable that we actually are, through being ourselves for people, that we start to identify our value, which is what self-worth is based upon. the value that we place upon ourselves. Right now, you're going to be placing much value on yourself, or you're going to be placing little value on yourself, right? How much value do I place on myself? I'll be honest with you, not much, right? I don't know what I don't know, honestly. I'm just here creating training resources like this, doing my best, where some people absolutely despise me, others absolutely love me. So I'm kind of indifferent either way, it doesn't make any difference. As long as we're doing our best, nothing else really matters. And if you think about it, that is kind of true, all right? As long as we are sharing the lessons that we've learned, the insights that we've gained, the skills that we have for serving other people in some sort of positive way, then we cannot fail but grow in confidence. And this is where it's at. As we grow in confidence, we will naturally turn up and assert ourselves. I'm not here to impress you with pretty words. I'm not here to tell you that your life will go well. Just smile a happy smile and think some happy thoughts, because life just doesn't work out that way. Anyone who says that is just nonsensical. What I am here to say and offer you is the truth, that personal growth is a process. And as you commit to this path, commit to this journey, you're going to have to take some risks. You're going to have to roll up your sleeves, and you're also going to have to work hard. I guarantee you that the results will naturally follow.